Hello, pre-K class. It's story time. We love stories, don't we? Well, today's story is about Bonzo's bubbles. So remember, that's the last story from this book. And these are all the friends. So let's read the story. We like bubbles, don't we? I made bubbles, remember? And they were in our taking turn lesson. So, bubbles. Bonzo is sitting by the stream. It's like a river. Bonzo is sitting by the stream. He is blowing bubbles. He's blowing bubbles. How do you blow bubbles? Now you blow bubbles. So he's blowing lots of bubbles. The bubbles float across the water and drift in the trees. They go in the trees. They go and they stay on the water. They are like rainbows. Wow. Try and see this. Can you see the colors? Lots of colors. Ah, rainbow colors. Do you remember? We painted rainbows. Now, they are like rainbows, thinks Bonzo. Some of the bubbles burst. Pop, 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 pop. Sam and Tiny Ted want Bonzo to play. They go to his house, but Bonzo is not there. Where is Bonzo? Yeah, he's at the stream. Where is Bonzo? Asks Sam. He's blowing bubbles, says Bonzo's grandma. We will go and find him, says Sam. Off they go. They look up to the blue sky, up into the blue sky for bubbles. They're trying to see if there are any bubbles up there. If there are, we'll know where Bonzo is because we'll know where they're coming from. Look, they're looking up at the sky. I can see some bubbles, says Tiny Ted. Bubbles are flying up from Arabella's backyard. Arabella is washing her father's car. But Bonzo is not there. We're looking for Bonzo, says Sam. I will come with you, says Arabella. Off they go. They look up into the blue sky for bubbles. So now it's Sam, Tiny Ted and Arabella looking for Bonzo. I can see some bubbles, says Tiny Ted. Bubbles are flying up from Buster and Bert's garden. They are washing their clothes in a tub. But Bonzo's not there. We are looking for Bonzo, says Sam. We'll come with you, say Buster and Bert, and off they go. They look up into the blue sky for bubbles. So they're looking up into the blue sky for bubbles. Here, look. And they are washing their clothes in the tub. I can see some bubbles, said Tiny Ted. The friends creep towards the hedge. First, Sam looks over the hedge. He lifts up Tiny Ted. Then Arabella looks over the hedge. Then Buster and Bert look over the hedge. So that's the hedge. It's a green hedge, and then look, Sam is holding Tiny Ted to look over, and Buster and Bert. Bonzo is sitting by the stream. He's watching the bubbles fly up into the blue sky. He looks happy, doesn't he? The bubbles float across the water. and drift into the trees. They are like rainbows, thinks Bonzo. Some of the bubbles burst. Pop, pop, pop. Lovely, isn't it? Bonzo pretends he's not seen his friends. He puts up his hat over his eyes. Look at that. Look at that. He pretends to be asleep. We found you, Bonzo, says Sam. Bonzo yawns. Oh, do you want to yawn? Why don't you try yawning? Let's try yawn. Oh, we yawn when you want to sleep or we're tired. So Bonzo yawns and stretches. How did you find me? He asks. We followed the bubbles, says his friends. I'm not blowing bubbles, said Bonzo. It must be the fish. Fish don't blow bubbles like the ones we saw, says Sam. You're right, says Bonzo. I was blowing bubbles. He shows them his bubbles hoop. See that? That's the hoop. He dips it in the soapy water. Then he blows through it. Lots of bubbles float across the water and drift into the trees. One bursts onto Tiny Ted's nose. Wow, and what sound does the bubbles make when they burst? It's a tiny sound. It goes pop. They all laugh. They play all afternoon. When it's time to go home, they march through the town. They take turns blowing bubbles. The bubbles fly over the houses, they fly over the cars and through open windows. Some of the bubbles burst as the friends go home for supper, for food. Pop, 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 pop goes the bubbles. See? They're blowing bubbles on the street now, just beside the house. I think I'm nearly done with the story. Wow. Now look at that. So that's Bonzo sitting by the stream. Well, let's look at the words we got to see in the story. So we saw some bubbles. We saw the car. We saw a tub where Bert and Buster were washing their clothes. And a hat. Yeah, I think that's the Bonzo's hat. He put it on his face and he pretended he's sleeping. That was a nice story from the book. I have loved all their stories. Now, do you remember what this was? And the picnic basket. And look, they're blowing bubbles. So there's a lot that was in the story. I hope you enjoyed. Now, one thing you can try today is see if you can blow bubbles with your brothers and sister, or maybe your mum and dad. And when you do that, make sure you take turns. Now, you know how to take turns. You blow once, and then you pass it on to somebody else to try. And when somebody else tries, you wait. Right? So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.